Since the pandemic began, many people have sought various ways to increase their dividends in order to continue receiving a monetary benefit even when it is passive. Although many have opted for traditional investments in cryptocurrencies, there is a much safer method than the latter and one that requires less intervention from clients. Have you ever heard of index funds? Would you like to know more about them and how you can invest in this modality? You came to the right place. Welcome to Businessman Investor, your finance channel. As I told you at the beginning of this video, there are several ways to increase your assets without having to put them at extreme risk. Many people made the mistake of putting all their savings in cryptocurrencies in companies that are no longer so lucrative. So today I am going to talk to you about a method that will surely be very helpful to you: index funds. Let's get to know more about them. What are index funds? Although it is clear that you have already made the decision to invest, before doing so you need to understand some details regarding the investment of your choice. More than anything, because when we talk about the term investment, we are using a word that encompasses an action, which can be done in various ways. Today it's index funds, so let's focus on that and get to the topic at hand. What are index funds? In case you don't know, index funds are an investment method, which is based on the behavior of a certain stock index to act. For example, you want to put a certain amount of money in the S&P 500 index, but you don't want to invest directly in it. What can you do to solve this dilemma? You can choose to enter an investment fund that replicates its behavior on the stock market. In this way, not only do you not leave your assets static, but you also become a participant in the variations of the increases and benefits that the index may have, although indirectly. Under this premise, index funds move along the path of investment and passive management, which in the long run saves considerable time and effort, since constant supervision and movements are no longer required. Both you, as the management team in charge of the account, do not have to be aware of it all the time. Of course, you will still need to find out regularly about the behavior of your assets, but the activity will be much less because your money is in an investment model that is imitating the various processes that the index in question lies. That's right, all the moves, both rises and falls, are replicated to the same extent, but since that is one of the purposes of index funds, you should not panic. Now that you know more about index funds, what do you think if we see some differences between them and ETFs? Difference between index funds and ETFs. When we talk about investments, why does it seem that both terms are the same? What happens with this point is that since both are investments in passively managed funds, people often confuse one with the other. Of course, in practice, you have several differences, so let's talk about some of them. The first and most important is that, although the objective of both operations is to replicate a certain index, the index funds are managed as a classic investment fund where the person subscribes and, regardless of the movements, the rest of the funds are reimbursed. In the case of ETFs, these have a behavior more similar to a share, and for this reason they can be bought or sold when the client so decides. On the other hand, one of its most notorious differences is the same liquidity. This is because, while index funds keep a certain percentage without fail, ETFs go all out and invest 100% of the cash put into said investment device. In the case of commissions, we also see clearly different details between the two, and the same thing happens with taxation. So be sure to watch the video that I am preparing about ETFs, since in it, I am going to explain these and others in detail. More points worth knowing. Advantages and disadvantages of index funds. That being said, let's move on to the advantages and disadvantages that we can find in index funds. On the benefits side, we find that 1. The client saves a significant amount in commissions thanks to the fact that continuous activity is not needed to make said investment. 2. The investment portfolio can be diversified. This is because, as the index includes various companies in a sector, the client does not have to limit himself to a specific institution. 3. Index funds allow collection and transfer without the need to pay taxes, so there are no tax problems. And finally, 4. Thanks to its investment mode through replication, there have been cases where the funds provide greater profitability and even exceed the expectations of the managers. Okay, so we've seen all the good things about index funds, so now it's time to move on to the cons. And among them, we find that 1. There is a possibility that the chosen index has a bad behavior during the operation. If there are too many drops, all of that is going to be replicated by the fund, which in turn will affect your numbers. 2. If the index focuses on companies in a certain area, you could be losing money. To exemplify this point, I am going to take the investment with which I explained the index funds to you. Imagine that you put a certain amount of money into a fund that tracks the US S&P 500 index. If that investment only focuses on the ups and downs of companies in the US market, but you notice that other European funds are doing better, then you could be losing money because you are not getting involved in the indices of those countries. 3. As a last point against, we can say that the fact that there are still not too many offers can limit the movements of customers. The good thing at this point is that there are more and more markets and institutions interested in index funds. With that last fact, I close today's video. I hope this basic guide will be very helpful to you in your next investment, and remember, be very careful with your money. Before making any trades, find out about the platform in question and thoroughly research its track record and customer reviews. That way you make sure that you are really investing in index funds. Comment below your impressions on today's topic, and while you do so, I invite you to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the other content I have prepared for you. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about ETFs, so you can't miss it. Now, yes, it's time to go. See you, and continue with your good financial health.